Man, it's great. No sports are on, but it feels like there are some sports. There's some sports to sink our teeth into.
Oh, great.
Oh, real great. And now,
there are no sports. They're all dead.
Well, the only thing that's dead is, yes, live sports. But we get to react and project and speculate. Isn't that kind of fun?
It all ended at 11:45 p.m. last night with the last Liga MX game. Once that was done, I'll tell you, they swept it right from underneath me. That was the hardest part of that. Was I ordered a Tigres jersey, customized, as we talked about, from a bunk website. It says it's still processing when I enter in the confirmation ID. But you know what isn't still processing is the darn credit card charge that went through.
Oh, Buck.
And now it's done. I got nothing left, man.
Well, one thing that's also not processing anymore is the wait time for this live show here on Fantasy Focus. We've got ourselves a live reaction show for NFL free agency day number 1. Boys, I'm Derrick Tate alongside the normal casting crew, Ryan Levy, our boy Matty B, Matt Bucks. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me on Monday evening. We just lost Levy, but we've still got me and Matt Bucks. Dude, we have a lot to sink our teeth into. A monster trade with major fantasy implications. I'm going to ask you what the hell you think of this DeAndre Hopkins for David Johnson trade. First initial reaction, dude, it honestly feels as if, I don't know, man. I feel like if you were in a dynasty league, you would veto the hell out of this immediately if you were in that league. And we've now seen a top 5 wide receiver traded for David Johnson. What the hell are the Texans thinking?
It's really hard to put it together right now, considering a couple of different factors. I understand the Donta Foreman project did not go as anticipated in Houston, but I thought Carlos Hyde is extremely serviceable there in his role. So trading away your best player, your franchise wide receiver, Nuke Hopkins, to get David Johnson, who, in my opinion, is a fine NFL back, but he is 2 years removed from being the most effective version of himself. So in what world does this trade make any sense for anyone other than the Cardinals? That's my observation.
Levy, I'll throw it over to you. I mean, the one thing we can do, and we're trying to dissect this from a fantasy perspective. We're going to get to our top 5 winners and losers here in just a moment for anybody that's joining in. Ray Arnold, it was a quiet day for the New York Giants. Let's go Giants. Thanks for joining us. But it's a head-scratching move for Deshaun Watson because he's the guy that tops my losers list of day number 1 of NFL free agency. His fantasy football stock has dropped me, and it's not because he still isn't an ascending talent and a young quarterback superstar in this league, but damn, you just hamstringed him. Like Bucks already said, Hyde was at least serviceable. Are you really even upgrading that much with David Johnson? And then you give up a top 5 wide receiver for your young franchise quarterback. Doesn't make any damn sense.
Yeah, I'm definitely not crazy about the move by any means for Houston. I don't necessarily understand the move. For me, for Kyler Murray, he's the biggest winner in this situation. They're absolutely stacked on offense. And Ray, Giants, Jadeveon Clowney was a big move for them. So I am pumped about that, but not fantasy related, obviously, but big as a Giants fan. But overall, back to this trade, mind-blowing trade. Didn't expect it. I mean, we heard the trickling in of David Johnson going, but when they announced a few minutes later that Nuke Hopkins was part of this trade, I almost pooped my pants. What about you guys?
I definitely did not soil myself, Ryan. I came close, though. I had a few warning signs on the verge there. Really,
I didn't defecate on my own belongings either.
I think it comes down to the contract, right? He wanted a rework of his contract. He still had 3 years left on his deal. They just didn't want to deal with it.
But that's the insane part about this. Nuke Hopkins is choice 2. If you had a top 5 receivers in the league currently, I have your guy can't guard Mike, number 1, and then I have Nuke Hopkins. I mean, Nuke Hopkins is just such a tremendous route runner. He's explosive in and out of cuts. He knows how to use his hands. He's always catching it away from his body. He makes acrobatic plays, but most of all, he gets open. The guy gets open. Even with double coverage, he gets open. You're telling me that, and it's easy to just dismiss David Johnson because of last year. Realize, though, that David Johnson, in the right scenario, he can definitely be effective. And perhaps having a running back who's more apt to being a receiver out of the backfield, such as DJ, will benefit Deshaun Watson long term. But what is their plan? Explain to me what their plan is. Has Bill O'Brien and the brass there in Houston been tested for COVID-19 at this point? Because the decision making, it's just not there. I don't get it. Because who do you have at receiver right now? Is Kenny still playing? Is that it? You got
Kenny Stills and Will Fuller.
And a hobbled Will Fuller.
Gross.
Are you going to latch your wagon to Will Fuller? And I love the player Will Fuller is. It's just they're based on past experiences here. Is there ever a season where he can finish out 16 games? 17 games. 17 games.
Is there a season where he can play 10 games?
How do you not get a first rounder back at least? Come on, second rounder in Johnson?
Because it's Bill O'Brien. It's Bill O'Brien, man. I mean, Bill O'Brien and the rest of that Houston organization, this isn't the first time they've gotten railroaded on a trade. I mean, remember what it cost them to bring in Laramie Tunzel last year?
Yep.
And their offensive line was still mediocre at absolute best.
Marginal. It was marginal, yep.
So now not only do you you bring in David Johnson, which, by the way, Buck, you said last year was a year that he wasn't really all that good. I mean, dude, I argue that he's really vastly underperformed. I know 2017 he had that wrist injury in week number 1. I'm willing, and that was after he was an all-pro in 2016. But, dude, this guy hasn't put up a solid season now since 2016, and that feels like ages ago. And I'm not saying in the right scenario that Johnson can't be productive, but come on. I mean, most people would not say that David Johnson is even a top 15 running back in the National Football League at this point. Hopkins is easily the number 2 wide receiver behind Michael Thomas right now. And they did not get anywhere near the value they needed to get for a wide receiver in his prime who's, dude, you could take his production to the bank. Like, I think the lowest, his floor over the last 3 years, 96 receptions, 1,100 yards, and 7 touchdowns. And that was with a weird down year for Nuke Hopkins this past year. I don't get it. I'm sorry. I'm running out of breath because I'm so pissed. I need to calm down.
You're pissed about it, and that's okay. You can be. Right now is a time of acceptance, Derrick, and I accept you for who you are and your feelings for what they are. But here's my key takeaway right here. Christian Kirk's stock just went through the roof.
Okay. I mean, if you want to go ahead and sound off, because now you bring in DeAndre Hopkins, you still have Larry Fitz working out of the slot for the most part. Yep. But why do you see such a huge jump in stock for your boy Christian Kirk?
Double coverage. Plain and simple. I mean, you can't throw Nuke Hopkins on there and not double him down. And Christian Kirk is versatile. We've talked about it many times on this pod, is how he is a Swiss Army knife of a wide receiver. He can go inside, he can go outside, he'll run across the middle, he'll take the deep routes. I think with his versatility in mind and the successful debut of Kyler Murray this past season, I really think there's a recipe for success for this passing offense in Arizona, considering the double coverage that Nuke Hopkins will warrant and the fact that Christian Kirk will do whatever is asked of him, and they will find ways to get him open. And I think he is an explosive playmaker. Once he has the ball in his hands, he's very good at running after the catch. This is a guy I think that could really jump here. Really jump.
I think when you're taking a look at Kyler Murray, and he was a top 10 fantasy quarterback, guys, without a number 1 wide receiver, without even close to a top tier talent. I mean, we remember, Bucky, you know this. I mean, we're both pretty high on Christian Kirk last year. Kirk wasn't really right after that ankle injury. I feel like he came back and was rolling out there trying to give it his best, but he just didn't look like his normal explosive self. The only time he looked like that was against the Bucs. But I digress. 3,700 yards passing, though, Levy. 20 touchdown passes for Kyler as a rookie. And then you add what he can do on the ground. I think it was like 400 yards on the ground along with 4 rushing touchdowns. Now you give him a true number one and Kenyan Drake, which Drake, by the way, I mean, he's the number 2 guy as far as winners today on my board because you got rid of David Johnson. You bring in DeAndre Hopkins, which means you have a bona fide top 5 wide receiver that opposing defenses have to respect. And you have Kenyan Drake, who was a top 5 running back last year in PPR formats once he arrived in Arizona. So the airway has been cleared, so to say, Levy, for Kenyan Drake, who got the transition tag today.
Yeah,
the Arizona Cardinals.
They ran some Drano through the clog within the stake.
Couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I had Kyler as a top 7, top 8 headed into next year, or this year, I should say, in the 2020 season. And I think he's legitimately a top 5 now. I don't think that's crazy by any means. And I'm actually curious to see what happens with Hakeem Butler. Are we forgetting about Hakeem Butler, your boy?
Kinda.
When you think of Hakeem, damn it. When you think of garbage, think of Hakeem. Sorry.
I'm not sure about
I screwed up the Coming to America reference. But point being, we keep losing Levy. Something's going on with his internet over there. Come on, Levy, get it together over there.
I kind of like it, though. It keeps me on edge, which I need.
But when we're talking about Kenyan Drake, Kyler Murray, I think Kyler Murray is not going to be in my top 5. I think that's a little bit aggressive.
Agreed.
We saw what that looked like last year when we tried to shove and force Baker Mayfield into a top 5 fantasy season this year. And I'm not convinced that Kyler's going to have that type of season. But does this make him easily a top 10 quarterback for me? It does.
I agree with the top 10, but I also feel like that second year, especially for dual threat quarterbacks, he's on film now, right? He's got to readjust. He's got to figure out where he fits in. This only helps that. This is a player that immediately takes his stock from here. And it's not like the current Dow Jones Industrial Complex, but up to here. It's a nice jump.
What does it do for Kenyan Drake in your book, though? I mean, does Drake – I mean –
here's a guy who time after time I thought had great moments, great games consecutively, but never really got the team to just tip their cap to him and say, this is your kingdom now. I think this move signals that. But that's what is so perplexing about the move, is that moving David Johnson had to be the easiest solution to this problem ever, right? Like, you have Kenyan Drake, who, what was he over the last 6 weeks of the season?
Running back 4.
Yeah, running back 4. This guy was killing it. And we've seen that. We've seen it in spots with Miami. He's never been given the reins to the offense. Now, and I mean, usually that's reserved for quarterbacks, but I digress. I like reins. I like saying giving them the reins. I'm playing The Witcher 3 right now because I'm on lockdown. And a lot of horse riding in that. It's basically the worst game that I could have purchased prior to completing Red Dead Redemption 2 because it's just a whole shitload of riding a horse again. And that whole thing has got me all mixed up. I got to get around that. I might have to take a breather and play FIFA. Anyways, I love it for Kenyan Drake. I love that he's going to get his chance to shine. Hey, Levy. Bye, Levy.
We just lost Levy again. Damn it. I don't know what's
him
going
getting
on.
A chance to shine, I think it does boost him into like top 15, top 20 conversation.
I would say he's a second rounder for me still. I mean, if you want to try to take what he did last year towards the end of the season and project it out and just say, yeah, I think that them getting rid of David Johnson proves that Drake is the guy. And if you want to go ahead and roll with that, I'm fine with that. Like, I really am. I don't think it's crazy of a stretch to take him in the late first. Personally, I still have him as a second round talent, a second round pick in fantasy drafts, but still interesting day for Kenyan Drake. Now, on the flip side, though, and we do have our boy Kobe, who is a Texans fan, but he thinks the Texans are absolutely
He's
crazy.
not a Texans fan. He just thinks
I'm not a Texans fan. Sorry, my bad. I can't read. I'm your host today, and I can't read. I'm illiterate. Thank you. I'm Derrick Tate. But what is David Johnson's value? I mean, it does give him relevance, but he's right there with Duke Johnson, and we know at least Duke's going to be involved in the passing attack. I mean, and we saw David Johnson lose his job to Kenyan Drake. And David Johnson was, from what I understand, he ended up getting healthy and he just flat out got outplayed. So what are your thoughts on David Johnson? Is he a top 25 running back at this point?
Yeah, I think absolutely. He's still up there, but he's going to be dropping down into like 5th, 6th round territory, which I think is appropriate considering output, considering where he is now with a Duke Johnson to have to contend with. But I still think he's a viable threat for the next year. So in a redraft format, mark me as a guy who might bite a bit early on him.
The problem is that I've seen David Johnson without a good offensive line. If you remember back in 2018, he got plenty of volume. The problem was that he was playing behind a terrible offensive line, and it's not the worst in the league there in Houston, but it
ain't great.
What's that?
It ain't great.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's not a perfect situation, and he's going to I still think he's going to lose snaps to Duke Johnson. So I'm of the opinion that David Johnson barely cracks my top 25. I think he's more like right around 25, 30. And there's a little bit of upside because you still have Deshaun Watson under center, and who knows what they're going to do with the NFL draft or any other moves to replace DeAndre Hopkins. But I just don't see this offense having the same punch. And it was already inconsistent to begin with Deshaun Watson and DeAndre Hopkins both playing 16 games last season. I'm not as bullish on David Johnson. I'm not a big fan of their running game in general. And I just think that Bill O'Brien doesn't know what the hell he's doing. But one thing I do want to talk about, and here's a winner that I feel like most people are going to want to throw tomatoes at me or something, but I got Baker Mayfield as my number 4 winner on the day, strictly because you go and get Austin Hooper, which I think he's at least a top 7 talent at the tight end position in the National Football League. I mean, do I think that he needed to reset the tight end market money-wise? No, but the market's the market, and he got paid. But then you go and get Jack Conklin at right tackle, which
big move.
That's a huge move for the Cleveland Browns. Kevin Stefanski has to be doing a damn backflip as far as being ecstatic that they were able to get Jack Conklin away from the Titans.
He's doing the Stefanski shuffle right now.
And all other people that are joining us live right now, Jason Alonzo, what's up, man? Good. Mr. Dried Ocean, yes, we did get the Fantasy Sunday team back together again very, very briefly because we keep losing Levy.
Well, they are entering lockdown there in 24 hours in California. So
wild stuff with the coronavirus. But can you give me some thoughts on Baker Mayfield? Is he someone that is intriguing to you as a post-hype sleeper this upcoming season, or do you just think that the Browns are just a complete mess still?
No. I don't think the Browns are a mess at all. I think the Browns bolstering their cabinet or their pantry with a little Case Keenum meteorite headed directly back towards Earth, but now it's back. It's in outer space. It's circulating. It is actually following the axis of the sun at this point, like it should be, like any good meteorite, not crashing and burning. I think there's a fire under Baker Mayfield's ass, and there should be. I think this was signaling to him that you are on a short leash, so this could go one of two ways. Baker's a unique guy. Baker does things his own way, and this is put up or shut up time in the NFL, right? I mean, this is, you either get this done, you're a professional on and off the field, you take the shit seriously. I mean, just look at a picture of him with his boys on the beach, you know? This guy is not taking the gym work seriously. And maybe it's a body type thing, and he is working out. I mean, I'm not one to preach on it by any means, but for Christ's sake, he goes out there, he looks like my server at Denny's.
How many trips do you make to Denny's?
Not many. I only go to Hooters, so that was more hyperbole than anything else. But I do feel that Baker, it's a put up or shut up type moment, and just based on what I've seen, I don't look for him to seize the day here. I think he's going to have a really rough year, I think that leash is extensively short, like ridiculously short.
See, they just spent a number 1 overall pick on Baker Mayfield. What was it? 2 drafts ago? I don't think
Correct.
I do not think that they're signing Case Keenum. I think he's a veteran backup, man.
Josh Rosen.
What does Josh Rosen have to do with this?
What do you mean? What does Josh Rosen have to do with this? He was a top pick.
Well, I mean, Josh Rosen was not the number 1 overall pick, though. I mean,
But he was the number 9 pick, wasn't he?
He was somewhere in the top 15, I believe. But I think he was number 10 overall, if I'm not mistaken. But the point is...
my point is the obscurity factor can come in really quickly based on your play on the field, and not just your play on the field, your demeanor off the field, your work ethic, your approach, everything that encompasses being an NFL quarterback. That's why I feel that Case Keenum move is bigger than what you're giving it credit for in our offline discussions on the old cell phones.
That's fine. That's fine. We can agree to disagree, but either way, Baker Mayfield is the one going into the season as a starter. And if we're talking about them adding Austin Hooper, so here's the thing with Austin Hooper. I mean, before he got hurt last year, the dude was putting together back-to-back top 5 tight end seasons in PPR formats.
I love Hooper Loop.
He's a machine, dude. But here's the problem. You got a lot of mouths to feed. And I'm assuming, and you know, Will Jenkins, thanks for joining us, man. What do y'all make of them adding Hooper? And then, of course, bringing in 2 tight ends this season. Bringing in 2 tight ends. Now they have him and David Njoku there, which I think Njoku is on the trading block. It could be had pretty cheaply, if I may add. I don't think that Njoku is part of their plans because
4th round pick.
I mean, yeah, he was like number 23 overall or something like that.
Yeah, but I do feel that he could go for a good 4th rounder.
Somebody will probably take a chance on David Njoku. But I don't think that the Browns are going to enter the season after paying, literally resetting the tight end market on Austin Hooper. That tells you all you need to know. In fact, that's one of the biggest losers of today is David Njoku. It's not even close. I mean, he's dead there in Cleveland. He needs to go somewhere else, get an opportunity to compete for a starting job, because you don't sign Austin Hooper at what you signed him for if he's not going to be your every down starter.
What were the details on that deal?
I believe it was 4 years, $44 million, $23 million guaranteed.
Wow.
I'm doing it off the top of my head. If somebody wants to fact check, he's watching live, but I think that's what it was.
He's 25 now? This is his first real contract?
First big boy contract, and he got paid well. So when it comes to – I don't know if I like it that much for Austin Hooper. If you're sitting here saying that you're not high on Baker Mayfield, then what is there to be happy about when it comes to –
Tate, who let the dogs out?
That's my puppy, Sadie. I don't know what's going on, why she's barking. Somebody needs to get that damn dog under control. But anyway.
You got to get your ass out there and find that dog, man.
Not sure what's going on. Sorry about that. But
it's all right.
It's a dog. I can't control the dog. But as far as any other, I mean, the Falcons did trade. And speaking of Austin Hooper and his production over there at Atlanta, they traded today. I believe it was. I need to go ahead and get the official trade details on this. But Hayden Hurst. Hayden Hurst was traded over to the Atlanta Falcons today from the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, they had Mark St. Andrews over there emerged for your boy Lamar Jackson. So Hurst was a former first-round pick as well in 2018. Yeah. Moved on pretty damn quick. I believe they got a 2nd and a 5th in return.
He's had some injury problems though.
Right, but I mean, Mark Andrews makes it much easier to move on from him. You can get something nice for him. Might as well go ahead and pull the trigger.
Well, I personally, as an Andrews owner in Dynasty, I could not be more pleased with this move. I want to get rid of all of the crowded tight end backfield that they have there in Baltimore.
Nick Boyle
makes me feel good. Yeah. Yeah, Boyle's going to get his now too, but that's more suited for his role, right? To be the blocking tight end, and he's also very good. He's versatile. But it is really nice to see Hayden Hurst move on. But I think that Atlanta has shown they can utilize the tight end. Matt Ryan can utilize the tight end. That's been proven over time, season over season. Hayden Hurst is one of the guys that I think has the biggest bump from all the entirety of the movements that happened today. Hayden Hurst is one of those guys that you can say, look at his film in college, look at the limited exposure here in the NFL. He can still play. This guy is a baller. At South Carolina, he was damn near unstoppable. So I look for Hayden Hurst to actually potentially be a top 10 tight end this next year. Actually, I'll say it. I think Hayden Hurst is top 10 tight end.
Don't start turning into Levy with 12 or 25 different top 10 tight ends.
No.
That's all I'm going to ask.
You heard it here first. Hayden Hurst is in my top 10. Hooper, I'm not sure about in Cleveland. I'm just not, man.
Too many mouths to feed there for me. Hooper going from Atlanta to Cleveland is a bad thing.
I agree.
In my opinion. I mean, it's not a huge. I mean, it's not that he's not worth owning or anything of that nature. Of course he is, but he's got too much talent not to own. I just don't see the fantasy opportunities in Cleveland for Hooper that I did in that system with Matt Ryan.
Agreed.
It's a step down as far as weekly volume and involvement in the offense.
Agreed.
As far as there was a lot of franchise tags that were handed out. I mean, this is where we'll kind of wrap it up. But I'll ask you, because some of these teams, I mean, the one that makes me the most perplexed is Derrick Henry getting the franchise tag, because they just signed Tannehill to over a $100 million contract for a 4-year deal off of a 13-game stint. And guess how many passes he threw in those 2 playoff wins? 29 attempts. 29 passing attempts, 160 yards through the air in those 2 playoff wins. Compare that to what Derrick Henry did in the 2 playoff wins, 67 touches, over 400 total yards. And yet you franchise tag Derrick Henry, last year's NFL leading rusher, but you give a quarterback with a 13-game sample size who did nothing to really earn those 2 victories in the playoffs. I mean, he made a couple throws in both of those games, but it was Derrick Henry was the one that brought him there. So now I think you're running the risk of Derrick Henry potentially holding out.
You do. You absolutely do. But here's the deal. It's way too volatile at the running back position. The ebbs and flows are short-lived, Tate. You know this. The quarterback position, it pretty much lasts forever. See the current crop of starting NFL QBs, including Drew Brees, Tom Brady, soon to be, hopefully be, the next quarterback of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as well as Phillip Rivers. You had Eli up until last year. You can play quarterback until you're 40 years old. You can't play running back in the NFL until you're 40. I understand Derrick Henry is still young. He is. But his window is so much smaller than that of Ryan Tannehill, who honestly was plagued in Miami. The guy was plagued. And he didn't have the pieces around them to be successful. You saw what happened once he took over in Tennessee. So I, for one, think that the Tannehill deal, while surprising, because it was surprising, it makes sense from a longevity perspective. He's a guy who will play it safe. It seems to me that Vrabel wants to play shit safe. And this is his safety latch. He's got an experienced quarterback. This is a guy who was schooled at the art of quarterbacking by the GOAT, Tom Brady, right? That was his guy. Tom Brady is what over anything else, Tate?
A winner.
And safe. He's safe. He makes sound decisions. Ryan Tannehill does just that. He doesn't need a gunslinger in that offense. They had the right scheme. They built from the line back, and that's what they're going to do. They have strong wide receivers.
They lost Conklin, though. I mean,
the Conklin is big. It's extremely big.
They lost Conklin, and you mentioned the system. Their winning formula, though, Bucks, is. I mean, again, I want to go into.
I get it. No, I get it.
From a fantasy perspective, I mean, we're trying to. I mean, we're talking about them making the right decision as an organization.
That Bo Scarborough can't be the next Derrick Henry.
I mean, that's a stretch, but I mean,
my point is,
running back is more replaceable. Right.
I think that from a general manager's perspective, that is the thought process is that what are we going to do? Are we going to roll out the Brinks truck for Derrick Henry? He gets hurt next year. He never gets back. And we're still paying him for 4 years. That's my issue with it because the guaranteed money that it's going to take to re-sign Derrick Henry at this juncture, it just doesn't play for a small market team like Nashville. It doesn't. So I totally respect the move. The longevity at the quarterback position, the steady hand there for Tannehill, and you juxtapose that with the fact that the running back position is extremely volatile. There are comers and there are goers at every single season. And that's how it works out, right? Devonta Freeman, cut.
We actually just got some breaking news, too, that the Vikings are trading Stephon Diggs to the Buffalo Bills.
No.
We need to go ahead. I'm going to get on Twitter and see where that's confirmed. I'm assuming it's Adam Schefter. But
if it's Shefty, I'm going to do a happy dance.
You take it to the bank if it's Shefty. But yeah,
holy shit. Stephon Diggs to the Bills? Who do we trade? What do we do?
Jay Glazer. Bills have acquired Stephon Diggs in a trade from the Minnesota Vikings 1 minute ago.
Who the hell did we give up there, though?
Have to wait and see, but initial thoughts, Buck.
That helps because we definitely need to draft a lineman in the first round this year. Oh boy. I don't even know how to react to this. I'm extremely excited.
We're in real time here, Buck. We just found out about this. This is breaking news. What you do with a live show, baby. It's a live reaction. So Stephon Diggs I think that this helps Josh Allen immensely. John Brown had a great year. I thought he exceeded my expectations for him. I mean, he was pretty much a top 20 wide receiver based on volume, but he made enough plays. But you add Stephon Diggs, man, another guy that can get open. This really significantly helps Josh Allen, in my opinion. I think Josh Allen is my breakout candidate at quarterback. I mean, you already kind of broke out as it is. I mean, I think he finished the year as the quarterback 6.
That's because he's a freight train that rolls directly through linebackers without any pain. He feels nothing, Derrick.
So, but the thing is, I'll ask you about Stephon Diggs' fantasy value, which was already incredibly volatile there in Minnesota. Because 1 week
volatile.
That's what I'm saying. Now he's with Josh Allen.
I'm thinking about the team as a whole because I'm a Bills fan, right? I think this is huge because as deep as the receiver class is this year, we can get a very quality player in the second round, right?
Oh, yeah.
But it's always that dice roll in the first round. It's always that dice roll. What have we learned about first round offensive line picks? For the most part, they're pretty damn solid.
They contribute. They find a way to contribute. I mean, even if they're not home runs, they're contributors.
If I'm going to say it, if Brady moves on from the Pats, Bills take the division.
Flag planted, baby, from your boy Matty B. And
Bills take the division.
Dried Ocean's loving it, dude. He's reacting live time with us. Bucky, please.
I love you too, bro.
Oh, man. I mean, it's wild, though. Like, this is the live reaction. So, I mean, I love it, man. So, Stephon Diggs, though, I mean, now it makes me wonder.
I'm worried about what we're giving up there.
So, I mean, right now you're looking at if you're looking at
Did we give him Frank Gore?
I don't know, man. I wouldn't give up Frank Gore. Not at that price.
No. Not for some Stephon Diggs.
But
this is huge.
I mean, we're talking about I will ask you this, though. Do the Bills need to go get a bigger physical wide receiver as a red zone option? Because right now you got John Brown, Stephon Diggs, and Cole Beasley, who are all smaller, gifted route runners that can create separation, but none of them are, just throw back shoulders to me inside the 5-yard line.
They're not the mountain from Game of Thrones.
So let's see from Ryan Levy, which, by the way, Levy, what in the hell happened to you? I'm an idiot regarding Clowney. Got duped by a phony chef on Twitter. It's going to happen, man. There's a lot of phonies out there. A lot of phonies. Got to make sure.
Always click on it. You investigate it.
Got to cite your sources. But guys, if you guys have any other free agency questions, I know that we just got this bomb dropped on us about Stephon Diggs.
That's not a bomb. This is an epiphany. This is what I need to make it through quarantine.
So if you guys have any other fantasy football questions, talk about winners, losers, sound off in the comments. We really appreciate you all joining us as NFL free agency marches on tomorrow. Look, we've still, and I'll end with this, Buck. Tom Brady, Jameis Winston are still doing the tap dance around each other because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as of right now, don't have a starting caliber quarterback under contract. How do you see it playing out? Is Tommy Boy coming to Tampa?
I trust Vegas. Minus 150. Oh, yeah.
Ooh, okay, so where's Jameis go? That's the thing. I haven't heard anything about Jameis all day. I've seen Teddy Bridgewater. I've seen Andy Dalton. I've seen Nick Foles all be reported to potentially be interested from Chicago. I haven't seen a thing about Jameis Winston. I've seen Rivers to Indianapolis. I've seen Mariota potentially trying to work something out with the Oakland Raiders or Las Vegas Raiders.
I still think Derrick Carr is going to be their quarterback.
Haven't heard anything about
maybe the Chargers. The Chargers make a little bit of sense.
It does, but why? Why haven't we heard anything yet on Jameis Winston? According to him, just check the stats. He's balling.
He's been balling. Never not been balling.
Per Shefty, for Stephon Diggs, the Bills traded a first, a fifth, and a sixth in a 2021.
There's no way.
That's hefty for Stephon Diggs.
There's no shot that that's what we did. That changes it. Will Jenkins, I hope you're trolling. Oh, I think he's trolling because he got duped by the phony Schefter. Let me check Shefty here. This is breaking news. Will Jenkins, if you're messing with me right now.
No, it's legit. Compensation update. Adam Schefter, the one with a check mark next to his name. Bills are trading a first, a fifth, and a sixth, and a 2021 fourth for Stephon Diggs and a 2027.
What?
Yikes.
5 picks? Including a first? Like our first round pick this year?
It's 4 picks. But 3 and yes, your first this year.
No. It's 5 picks. First round pick, 5th round pick, 6th round pick, 2021 4th round, 2027th round.
No, that's in comp, like coming back. The 2027 is coming from the Vikings and Stephon Diggs.
Oh, gotcha. Holy crap. I got scared there. Oh, boy.
Damn, dude. That's highway robbery. I'm sorry. Diggs wasn't worth that.
That's a lot of capital right there.
That's a lot of draft capital. Holy shit. I would rather have spent that first rounder on one of the receivers in this draft.
Oh, things just changed very abruptly.
We went from Bucky all smiles to Bucky in despair in the course of about 5 minutes. Well, you got Stephon Diggs, though. Are you happy?
Yeah, but what about like the quality defensive tackle in the 5th? What about another cornerback in the 6th? I know that we just we got Richard Sherman.
Levy says y'all got robbed.
They're not Richard Sherman. Jesus, what am I even saying right now? I'm so perplexed.
Levy, welcome back.
Oh man. I had to restart the internet just to come in here to get a piece of Bucky.
Sound off, Levy. Sound off.
I mean, it's
Dude, that is a lot.
Should we be shocked? Should we be shocked?
Wow. I just don't understand how you can give that up when you could have got Nuke for a lot less.
I mean, my God. How did we get to this point where we're trading away half of our draft, including the first rounder?
I don't know, because the Bills had a lot of picks here that they were lined up well for. I mean, Diggs is going to be a great piece in that offense. They just gave up a lot to get him, man.
That's so much for Stephon Diggs. And I like Stephon Diggs, the player. He's a grinder. He's going to work his ass off, but golly, man.
Michael Johnson just hit the nail on the head. Diggs trade makes that Hopkins trade look that much worse.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I mean, that you expected a first back in return for DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, I don't think I would have given up a first for Diggs. I'm sorry.
Will Jenkins, I'm sorry for questioning the validity of your statements on the chat.
Don't you ever question the validity of Willie Jenkins.
I just really wish that was fake. And now that I look at this stupid Schefter certified verified account, and there's a damn Stephen A. Smith beneath it with like a Stephen A. Smith sad meme.
Got to be a crying emoji.
I'm sad.
Where's that crying Jordan emoji?
How in the hell are we giving away that much?
I love that this happened live. This is fantastic.
I don't understand how they got the fourth rounder in 2021.
Wow.
Like a first, a fifth, and a sixth isn't enough?
Wad, I want to ask you, what does this do for? I mean, does this even move the needle significantly for Stephon Diggs' fantasy value? He was already kind of like a fringe top 20 guy. Does it move him up into top 15, or is he still top 20?
He's still a wide receiver 2 for me in terms of fantasy. I think he's going to be great with Josh Allen, but I don't know that it necessarily improves the situation much, except for the fact that maybe he's happy now. He's been bitching and moaning for the last year or so. He's obviously not happy.
Earlier today, like, time for a new start.
Yeah. Just because I think he's salty because Cousins got paid again.
Actually, yeah, I mean, that does make sense. Extended Cousins.
I think this year it's good for the Bills on the field, but I mean, that's just a lot to give up to get him, obviously. By the way, I am embarrassed that I got.
Whoops, he's done.
Yeah, Levy, you froze there, pal.
The Bills gave up so much they took Levy's internet. The Vikings took his internet along with it. I just don't know. Now,
Levy, you're back with us, pal.
Oh, sorry. I don't know what's going on out here. My internet's got the virus. It's a mess out here. Sorry, guys.
Oh, Bills also got AJ Klein from the Saints.
Great.
That's a great linebacker. Great. That's a good linebacker. 3 years, 18 mil.
Actually, we did have a Saints question from Cannon Simpson. See the Bucks hat. Got to ask, do we think that the Saints are going to make any sort of big moves? I don't think so.
No.
Why?
They got to pay Kamara. I mean, Kamara is somebody that could potentially even hold out. But
I'd like to see him get another wide receiver.
Everybody can be in the market for a wide receiver. Maybe not at the price that Diggs went for. Oh, Jesus. Bucky, I'm sorry. The blank stare of despair.
I'm just looking at Twitter right now. I'm not going to sleep tonight. I mean, I'm happy because we got a really good player, but we also now, what I said about supplementing our offensive line in the first round, that's not a possibility anymore. And not having a first round pick in the NFL draft, that's downright depressing.
In a deep draft.
Yeah.
In a deep draft. I think the Minnesota Vikings, oh my God, slam dunk. Like, you knew Diggs was on the rumor to be on the damn trade block. Diggs tweeted out today saying, I need a fresh start. Clearly the Vikings are in desperation mode to get anything for him, and the Bills give him like 3 freaking picks.
4.
Sorry, 4. My apologies.
Yeah, it's okay. We got a 7th rounder in 2026, so I'll be happy with that. They say that those current high school sophomores really good crop, like a super good crop. So,
well, media source again. Don't question the source. Your boy Willie Jenkins, he still loves you.
I just thought it was right under Levy's comment about getting duped by a phony Shefty, and he came with the dash Shefty. I thought you were memeing me. This is a meme world right now with what's going on across the globe. Everybody's memeing everything. You got bar charts and line graphs of flattening the curve and looking at your girl is the regular curve, but you're looking at the other girl who's the real steep curve. That type, like, there's so many memes right now, Will.
Yep.
I got you out memed my own meme brain. Dried Ocean put up a good point. Bills have some extra picks. We do. I just think that's a shitload to be given up.
Hey, what happened to the BN? BN dropped the dried ocean in there. Dried Ocean dropped.
What are
the
you
BN?
laughing at, Tate?
No, I'm sorry, man. Your reactions to this are just getting me to giggle. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to laugh at. I'm not laughing at you.
I'm dealing with a lot right now,
you,
Derrick,
as
we all are, and thinking that we got Stephon Diggs. And you knew, though, the minute that you announced that, I was like, oh boy, what did we give up for that? What did we give up? And of course, it comes back and it bites you like a nice hemorrhoid.
Changing subjects. Did you guys, while my internet was going out, did you talk about Hayden Hurst yet?
Yeah, we talked about Hayden Hurst.
Right.
What are your thoughts on Hayden Hurst to the Falcons?
I mean, I like the landing spot for him. I guess it doesn't get any better than that. I mean, playing behind Andrews there, he wasn't going to have a huge fantasy impact, so I like it for him personally.
Now Bucky said he's going out on a limb and saying he's a top 10 tight end. That's normally what you do.
I'll go top 15. You know I love my tight ends.
But what about, so of the players that are still available, though? I mean, we also talked about some of the franchise tags and transition tags. Derrick Henry got the tag, Levy. We had a big conversation about him and how that made no damn sense to me, given the fact that they made their playoff run off of leaning on Derrick Henry. And they gave Tannehill the 4-year deal and tagged Derrick Henry. But they lost Jack Conklin today to the Cleveland Browns. But is there any – I mean, now Amari Cooper. I mean, the Cowboys franchise tagged Dak Prescott because Jerry Jones just can't seem to pull out his wallet and get a deal done with Dak, who he's been riding off of for like what? He drafted him in the 4th round, and Dak has had completely outplayed his rookie contract.
Oh, yeah.
Yet,
I mean,
he caved on Zeke, who went to Cabo, held out. And then now you got Amari Cooper, who you gave up a 1st-round pick to the Raiders a couple years ago and is now on the free agent market. Like, what the hell? I mean, Amari Cooper, dude. I mean, where's Amari Cooper going to land?
Playing with dynamite over there, man. It's a dangerous situation to let him test the open market because someone's going to pay him.
If I were the Philadelphia Eagles, I would be doing everything I can to scoop Coop.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's a good spot for him. Absolutely.
Hashtag scoop Coop.
Scoop Coop.
Hey, your boy, Bucky. We were talking about Dak Prescott getting the franchise tag. Dallas Cowboys don't know their ass from their elbows.
That's insane to me.
Say that again.
Why in the world are they franchise tagging him?
Ooh.
The problem is he's going to cost him $40 million next year. So pay the 35 now, whatever he's asking for. The price tag is only going to go up at this point. I mean, if Kirk Cousins is worth $33 million or whatever they're paying him per year, so is Dak.
Dak is worth $2 million more. Yes.
To me, Dak Prescott is a poor man's Russell Wilson. I mean, he's a leader, dude. There's people follow him. He's been a winner his entire time in the National Football League. I know that they didn't make the playoffs this year in a bad division. I mean, did he not win the division twice for the Dallas Cowboys?
Look, you're only a winner if you win a damn Super Bowl in the NFL, in my opinion, okay?
That's false. Come on. You're talking to a Buffalo Bills fan here, bud.
I mean, he's a good quarterback. He's worth $35 million in this market.
He was if Dak Prescott was to hit the free agent market of all the quarterbacks that are available, even the great Tom Brady, I thought that Dak Prescott was the one that I would like for the next three years and beyond. I haven't.
Yeah, he was a girl that you're turning your head around for in the meme.
Yes.
Yeah, Dak.
You know the meme, Tate. Don't act like you don't.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I love that meme.
It's a great meme. I mean, I've seen it on Jameis Winston. I mean, it's probably one of the best memes out there. Ooh, like can you make that face? The face that guy's making in the back. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Wrap us up, Tater.
All right. So, if there's any other questions you have before we sign off, we're wrapping up this live reaction show of day one of NFL free agency. Again, sound off in the comments. Let us know who your day one winners were, day one losers as well. Mariota to Vegas. Where's Jameis going? I think Jameis is going to the Los Angeles Chargers, Michael Johnson. That's my gut feeling because I don't think he's coming back to Tampa Bay. It makes no sense to let him test the market if you're just going to bring him back. So to me, Jameis is going to Los Angeles.
Yep, agreed.
Tom Brady looks like he's coming to Tampa Bay. We'll see how it plays out, though. Thanks for joining us. Again, if this is your first time coming across our channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button as well as the like button. Again, we do appreciate you all joining us here live for NFL Day 1 of free agency. By the way, I'm going to be dropping another couple draft player profiles later this week. If you haven't yet done so, I just posted Jonathan Taylor earlier today. Go ahead and check that out. And until next time, everybody, will the Bills go as far as the AFC Championship, Buck? Go.
That's as far as we ever go, yes.
Later, says the Tater.
Go Bills.